Welcome back, everyone, to the ALASCA Tech-Talks for 2026. By the way, Ariana always used to say that. I can't see you guys. So if there is anything, if you're not seeing anything correctly, or if there's anything off with audio, whatever, please speak up. For our ALASCA Tech-Talks, we're already at Tech Talk number 32, which is exciting. Please note that the session will be recorded and we'll be uploading that to YouTube later. I'm going to start off with some news. As some of you might have already found out, I'm moderating that session today, and I will be moderating that session in the future because unfortunately we are sad to see Ariana go. She's decided to go in a different direction, which is sad for us, but we're very excited for her. And I just want to use that moment very quickly to thank her for all the work that she's done for ALASCA. She's done a great job throughout the years, and she's done a lot for ALASCA, and we'll definitely miss her. And I'm going to do my best to fill some very big shoes here. Right. Without further ado, our agenda is quite slim as always. We're going to get started with the Tech Talk. It's Matthias' turn today from ALASCA Focus, which is very exciting. If you have any questions about what Matthias is presenting, you can ask them later after he's finished with his presentation. And then we're moving on to some news and events. And then we're finishing up with the announcement of the next Tech Talk. So this is the topic for today, how to build an SCS-compliant cloud environment for the benefit of the ALASCA community. And I am going to stop talking and hand the mic over to Matthias. Hang on, I have to find you really fast to give you presenter rights down here. Okay.
Yep, thank you. I'm almost there. I think this should be it. Can you see it? Can you see it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, thanks. Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm going to start. The title of this talk, I took the liberty to drop the how to build and shorten it to an SCS-compliant cloud environment for the benefit of the ALASCA community. I'm Matthias Büchser, I'm project manager of the FOCUS project. FOCUS is an acronym that stands for Free and Open Cloud Initiative Saxony, and it's a funded project co-financed by the Saxon state, and we are very grateful for that. This enables our work as paid employees of the ALASCA Association. So what's new today? Why am I here? What am I going to talk about? First of all, there is now an OpenStack environment for the ALASCA community. And I don't have a catchy name as yet, I'm sorry to say, but the environment exists. And this is due to this focus project that I mentioned. It's born as a case study. We are doing case studies to collaborate with Saxon companies or institutions to publicly establish the viability of open source cloud infrastructures. And so that's one of the case studies. And the cloud environment is actually has been built and is being operated by the ALASCA founding member Cloud&T Technologies. So that was not us, that's Cloud&T Technologies who built and operates this environment. It is connected to the Dresden Internet Exchange, so this is also a collaboration in this case study. So the traffic stays in Dresden locally if you are connected to this Dresden Internet Exchange. And what's most important to me, because I actually forgot to mention that I'm also a coordinator of the special interest group standardization and certification with the Sovereign Cloud Stack, that this environment, this OpenStack environment, is compliant with the latest SCS-compatible EAS certification scope. That means that it complies with all the standards that are combined in this under this moniker SCS-compatible EAS. And finally, what is this good for? This OpenStack environment is meant to be a platform for, first of all, showcasing and developing the ALASCA stack. And I'm gonna go into detail about this in a bit. Also for providing services to the ALASCA community. And last but not least, also collaborating with third parties, mainly to extend the scope from the infra all the way towards applications. Because the main point of the case study is to establish the viability of the open source infrastructure, but we can of course extend this all the way up to applications, and for that purpose we collaborate with third parties. Now, the structure of my talk is basically this slide in reverse. I'm gonna expand on all those points basically in reverse. But first of all, to give you an idea about this installation, that's what the cluster basically looked like in November of 2025. And I have to say, for me, my background is in theoretical computer science and application programming. So a rack like that is quite impressive already. And if you squint really good, you can probably read it, have a look at the machines. It definitely says Lenovo here, because those are Lenovo machines. Mostly we have the switches from EdgeCore, and then the firewall and all the other machines are Lenovo machines. And already the yoke management cluster and the control plane nodes, from my point of view, are already quite impressive. But then you read further into the storage and the compute nodes. And I mean, everything's relative here, but yeah, I think that's quite something. Now, you also have to note that the setup is dynamic and has been growing since November. So when it comes to firewall or compute, things are very dynamic. Okay, but now back to my points that I want to expand on. First of all, the ALASCA stack. And if you are new to the Tech Talks, then maybe you haven't heard of the stack. Otherwise, the Tech Talks have covered the stack quite a bit. We have currently 5 projects on the web page that you can see here. This is just a screenshot from the web page. We have Arco, Taruk, Krake, Jake, and Yaouk. And each of those has been covered by some talk in some form or another. So we had the very first Tech Talk actually about Yaouk. And then we had a Tech Talk about Krake and one about Jake, another one about Taruk. And then at the ALASCA Summit in November, we had a talk about Arco. So that's all very great. And now, how does the stack, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. You can find all the project-specific Tech Talks and more details on docs.alaska.cloud. So if you're interested in learning more about the projects or just finding all the Tech Talks about the projects, you can go there, docs.alaska.cloud, and yeah, watch all the Tech Talks. Now moving on, how does the installation benefit from the ALASCA stack? So first of all, we used, actually not we, but Cloud and Heat used Yaouk bare metal to set up the hardware nodes. And Yaouk bare metal is quite impressive. It's quite magnificent what it can do. And I don't know if I can really do it justice with my words. So let me switch to another tab. Oh, sorry, that's not the tab. That's the tab. What you can see here with Yaouk bare metal, you get a Kubernetes cluster that more or less provisions all the bare metal nodes. And you use multiple services here, like Vault for secrets and credentials, the netbox as a kind of inventory of all the nodes and all the stuff that you have. And then it uses Ironic, the OpenStack project Ironic, to provision the nodes using Pixie and IPMI. I don't know how to pronounce it. And as I said, this is quite magnificent, and there's a lot going on there, but that's not my expertise, so to speak. What's next? We use Tarook to manage the lifecycle and to deploy Kubernetes on top of the nodes. And on top of that Kubernetes, we then use Yaook, which stands for yet another OpenStack on Kubernetes, to deploy the actual OpenStack environment. So up to here, this is all operated by Cloud and Heat Technologies. And on top of that, within the case study, the Focus project is now free to deploy other things. For example, we can use Tarook to deploy Kubernetes for applications. So the initial Kubernetes below Yaook is just for Yaook, and the Kubernetes is not multi-tenant capable. So we have the OpenStack. We can deploy Tarook or Kubernetes on top of that, and then we can separate tenants. But we could also use Jake, and the collaboration with 23 Technologies is coming soon. And we intend to deploy that. With Jake, we get Gardener, and with Gardener, we get Kubernetes again. But we can then very simply deploy shoot clusters. So it's very simple, I hope, then to have clusters with a single click, so to speak. And there are others. Maybe we can also showcase Arco or Krake and other projects on this installation. Moving on, the next point was that we can provide services for the community. The first service that is already present is the Hedgehog. You can find it at pads.alaska.cloud. And it's already used within Alaska for taking meeting minutes and other collaborative documents. And if you are an Alaska member, feel free to use that. You just need a GitLab or GitHub account to log in. Then we have already deployed internal services such as Keycloak and OpenBow for single sign-on and storing secrets, respectively. And we also completed initial testing of auto-scaling GitLab runners. So GitLab runners is something that is already mentioned in the abstract for this talk. And we're still looking out for people who want to try this. So please drop us a line if you're interested. So that's the current state of affairs, but I'd like to say the sky's the limit. We can provide other services if they are requested. Please, again, drop us a line if there's any need. Next, we are collaborating with third parties. I mark this as work in progress because it is. The idea, as I said, is to showcase an end-to-end open source scenario, which ranges from infrastructure all the way up to the application level. One collaboration I want to mention here is with Cloudogu. And what they offer is an ecosystem, low ops platform. In my mind, because I want to break this down very simply, in my mind, it's a little bit like an app store for cloud applications, but the applications are integrated. So you have single sign-on and they can interact. So for example, you can operate tool chains easily for software development or for project management. And the idea is that you can do this independent of the vendor, which holds true for both the infrastructure. So you can deploy the Cloudogu ecosystem low ops platform wherever you have Kubernetes, but also independent of the software because there are multiple options in this catalog. So here are just some ideas that what you can find in the catalog. I found Redmine, Grafana, Jenkins CI, Blue Spice Wiki, but there are many more. And this platform is in production with the ITZ Bund and has been in production since 2018. key points here are the Bundescloud and the Softwareentwicklungs. Sorry, I keep forgetting the acronym. If you're interested in that, maybe just ask a question later because the colleague from Clodogo is present, I think. So this is work in progress, and then there's collaboration with Turing e.V. This is an association, nonprofit, that aims to support other nonprofit organizations with OpenDesk. If they don't want to work with Microsoft 365, that's very laudable, but how do you do that? One way is to work with Turing e.V., I guess. And yeah, they also agreed to work with us to try the OpenDesk installation on this new environment. Next up, we have the item that the OpenStack environment is compliant with the latest SCS-compatible EAS, as I already said. And what you can see here is a screenshot from the SCS documentations page, which lists all the environments and their compliance status, so to speak. And I zoom in here, and then you can see the environment currently named Focus here in this table, and it certifies this latest version. This is v5.1. And the ALASCA Tech-Talks actually have a big history with SCS. This is going back all the way to the second Tech Talk already, where we had Kurt Garloff introduce SCS, talk about standardization in the SCS community. So actually, I have watched both Tech Talks that I'm going to talk about now, so you don't have to. And I'm giving you a quick recap. So this one was about the rationale behind SCS and the SCS core values, and also the dimensions of digital sovereignty to make this concept more precise. So if you're interested in that and you want to know more about that, you can go back to the Tech Talk. Otherwise, there's lots of stuff in there that has changed in the intervening 3 years. So what's up with the other one? There's the ALASCA Tech-Talk number 17, titled Two Standards, Infinity and Beyond, a tale about JAUC and building SCS-compliant clouds. This one basically states that there are testable standards in SCS, and that JAUC can be set up in a compliant way, or can set up a compliant OpenStack. And actually that the install of JAUC doesn't change except in the final step. But it doesn't tell you how specifically. So it refers you to a blog post. That's fine and well, because they had other things to talk about, but now I'm the SCS guy. I can't shut up about SCS and standardization, so maybe I can fill you in here. Let me do a quick tour through SCS land for you. So this is the SCS landing page, sovereigncloudstack.org. Actually not much to see here, but I refer you to this link documentation that you can click on. And then this is going to get you the details. If you're interested in the details, click on standards. And then you have a distinction between standards and certification, because SCS uses and develops lots of standards, and then they are packaged into certification scopes, and those are versioned. And for OpenStack, for the EAS layer, the current or the certification scope that's of interest here is called SCS-compatible EAS. I've already said that. And then you see here this table that I already showed in a screenshot. Now you can learn more about this scope by clicking on that. And then you see the scope is versioned. There are several versions. I already said the current version is v5.1. And then you see that those scopes are modular. They consist of multiple modules, and they can also share modules. And each of the module corresponds to a version of a standard. So for example, currently in version 5.1, this contains, as you can see, indicated by the X, version 3.1 of the flavor naming standard. And it contains lots of other standards, for example, a standard on volume backup here, or a standard on the domain manager role here. Okay, this is all well and good. You can read about the standards just by clicking on the standard, for example, domain manager role. Then you will find everything about that. Usually you will find some section called decision or regulation or whatever, and then it says in plain RFC language, must be, must, may, must not, and so on. And then this is implemented using, no, sorry, and then you have usually a supplement. This is a supplemental document that tells you how to implement the standard and also how the standard is being tested. In this case, it's actually a bad example, but usually you will find information on that as well. For example, on the entropy standard, the supplement explicitly tells you what test cases are being done, and yeah, then you know what you have to comply with. Going back to the table, I can now click on the focus environment results. This takes me to another table, and there I can see that our environment actually does not fulfill all test cases. We are seeing a table here with missing test cases, but it also says, due to this, the parenthesis, that these test cases are not required. They are just recommended. And everyone has to decide for themselves whether they want to see those recommended test cases fulfilled or not. And then you can see all the test cases that have been passed. You see the test case ID. If you click on the ID, it takes you to precisely to that documentation that I just showed. Or you click on reported on, and then you it takes you to the test report, where you can see the output of the test script and so on. Back to the presentation. So what I want to show now is what is necessary to get your run-of-the-mill Yaook OpenStack installation compliant with SCS-compatible EASP v5.1. And I have to say big thanks to the colleagues at Cloud & Heat and my colleagues at Focus, because they worked out all the details. And you can even find the details on this hedge doc. You can see a screenshot from the hedge doc, but I'm now going to give you the high-level overview of that. So first of all, there's a standard about OpenStack services and which services are required. And here's a list. Right there, you need the compute, network, block storage, image, identity, and load balancer services. And the code names you can see here in white, they must be present. And they can be installed with the respective operators and manifest on Yaook. I mean, maybe it's tricky in the detail, but it's regular Yaook operation to install operators and the corresponding manifests. But also the standard says that S3 must be present. And in our case, S3 and the object store service called Swift are provided via Ceph Object Store. And I'm not sure if I can show this right now. This is not a public repository, but you can see that there are quite a few YAML files here regarding object storage. And one of them is that Ceph RGW object store, which contains the Ceph object store. And you need others as well. You need a keystone endpoint and so on. But this provides the S3 and the object store using Ceph, the Rados gateway. Okay. The next one is a standard about volume backup that states the service Cinder backup must be present and usable. And this can also be configured in the manifest. However, we realized that the Cinder operator needed a fix to work with the Rados gateway as a source for the backup. The target for the backup in our case is S3. It's the same gateway, I think, the same Ceph, but anyway, so there was a quick fix needed, and the merge request is still open. For the time being, we're using a custom image for the Cinder operator and the Cinder operator Helm chart. So you can specify to use a certain image, and then you can use an image that already contains the fix, and this is what the colleagues have done. Next up, the domain manager role. The corresponding standard states that the role domain manager must be present and work the way it does on OpenStack 2024.2 and up. So more recent versions already have this role, but it can be implemented on older versions as well by adapting the policy YAML. And this is documented on the SCS documentation page. Actually, the one that I quickly showed earlier about the domain manager, it contains the policy YAML, and you can basically copy and paste it and maybe adapt a little bit. And that's what was done here. And maybe of note, we do use the manager role daily. So it's really a benefit to have that, because we as ALASCA Focus, we manage parts of this OpenStack environment, and it gives us the possibility to create projects and onboard people, create users, and so on. So that's great. Next, we have the key manager. The corresponding standard says that the key manager service called Barbican is not required. You don't have to enable Barbican, but if you do, Barbican must be usable with a member role. And this is a little bit out of my depth, but as far as I understand, either you have this new fangled thing in OpenStack called new secure role-based access control, then it should work out of the box. Or if you haven't, you can change the policy YAML for Barbican and add this one entry. And this is what we did, as far as I can tell. So that was not too difficult. Next. Now we are coming to the most, what shall I say, contested, most heatedly discussed issues, namely the standards on flavor naming and standard flavors. So what I summarized here as flavor regulations, they basically say that all flavor names starting with SCS in all caps and a dash are subject to special rules regarding syntax and semantics. So if your name starts with SCS dash, you cannot just use any old name. It has to conform to the rules. And then the flavor has to reflect what the name says. So if the name says the flavor has 4 CPUs, then it has to have at least 4 CPUs. So maybe you don't have, you don't have to use this prefix and then you're good, but that's not entirely true, because 15 of such flavors are required. So there's a list of 15 flavors that you have to have. And the most easy thing is to just use the OpenStack Flavor Manager, a tool from OSISM, and with this tool, it becomes a one-liner to just create all those flavors. And 2 of them are of special note because they require local SSD storage. But as you have seen from one of the first slides, all of the machines have SSDs. There's nothing else there. So I guess that's not a big deal here. Then there's a similar thing for images. So virtual machine images that you use to set up your virtual machines. One image is required. That's the current Ubuntu long-term support version 24.04. Apart from that, you are free to use whatever images you like. Oh, and I almost forgot, you have to enable image upload. So users have to be able to upload images themselves, but that's not even a thing, I think. More important, all public images, each and every one of the public images needs to have comprehensive metadata. That's really quite comprehensive. So maybe let's have a look again at this page that shows the test cases. And here you can see there's a, for SCS 0102, that's the standard about image metadata, there's a test case for each metadata item, so to speak. So architecture has to be set, image build date, image description, original user. So for a Debian image, that's usually Debian. For Ubuntu image, I think it's Ubuntu, not sure. Image source, minimum disk, minimum RAM, OS distro, OS version, stuff like that has to be set. And you can do this manually, but experience shows that most of the time setting this manually doesn't work. So every now and then we see, not necessarily on this environment, but in general, we see images popping up that cause the metadata tests to fail because some metadata entry is missing. So what I advise is to always use the OpenStack Image Manager from OSISM, and with that it also becomes a one-liner, more or less. Maybe it's 2 or 3 one-liners, depending on how many images you want to install. And that's what we have done also. Finally, there's one topic, it's a bit, yeah, sensitive. The sovereign cloud stack standards were actually quite proud to incorporate other standards, to not just reinvent the wheel unnecessarily, but to say, hey, there's this one thing that we think is really cool, let's just use that. And one of those was the OpenStack powered compute trademark by the working group interoperability from OpenStack. But unfortunately, that working group has been dissolved in 2023, and the corresponding repository has been archived in 2025. So now we discussed this, and we wanted to salvage what's good about that. This is now being renamed to SCS end-to-end testing. This is a new standard that's work in progress to succeed this OpenStack powered compute. The corresponding tooling, RefStack, is now obsolete, but it's not strictly necessary. What we would do instead is run just a regular Tempest with a given list of test cases. And this list has been derived from the latest interoperability guidelines, unfortunately from 2022, I think. Maybe this can evolve in the future. But this list is given, and you can run Tempest with this list. And my colleague Friedrich proposed a patch for the Yaook Tempest operator to enable it to work with such a list. And then you can use the Tempest operator, give it this list, and hopefully all is going to be well. So what else do we have? Well, this is all fine, but it could be easier still. And the idea is to simplify these steps even a lot with a specialized operator for Yaook, for SCS compliance. And I have to say, I don't know in detail what this operator should be looking like, but that's not a big problem because this is the topic for the next hackathon that's going to take place on February 26th in Hamburg, hosted by Dataport. And I just took the liberty to put in a screenshot here from our, I don't know if it's an internal Hedgehog, but nothing that's on here is internal, so you can have a look here. And it will come up again in the announcements after my talk, so no worries. Oh, and that's basically it from my side. This is just a reminder from last Alaska Summit where I presented our project and our team. I'm very grateful to have these fine people on board. Helena, you already met Daniel and Friedrich, who are doing lots of the grunt work. So thanks to them. And now thank you for your attention. And handing back
All
to
right. Thank you so much, Matthias, for your great tech talk. Are there any questions? This would be the moment to ask your questions to Matthias if you have any. Oh, look at that. You're receiving a couple claps in the sidebar there.
Thank you. Feel free to ask questions about Cloudogo, because, as I said, the guy's here, or questions about details on Yaook, because I may not be the most knowledgeable, but maybe I can help, or I can refer you to the corresponding people.
I'm just going to wait a little bit. Sometimes questions form in the head a little later once that's settled. A lot of input there. But then again, I am sure that if anybody has any questions coming up later, you can always reach out to Matthias. You can always reach out to the focus team. What'd you say? Sorry. Ah, perfect.
Also, if you just want to know, I referred to the Tech Talk number 2 earlier about the general idea behind SCS and stuff like that. But if you are basically sitting there and having a big question mark on top of your head, thinking, why do I need SCS in the first place? You can ask that too. I mean, why not? And then I would happily answer, or just refer you to Felix, who's here too.
Yeah, Johannes, go ahead.
Hi, I'm the guy from Cloudogo, by the way, but my question is actually not about us, but more about the Kubernetes standards provided by SCS. Are you planning to fulfill those with ALASCA Focus as well?
Oh yes, I would think so. I mean, as far as I can tell, those standards are not, let's say, overly alien or anything. They're reasonable standards, and it would be a shame not to satisfy those, I guess. So we shall see. We are still working on SCS compliance with Taruk, but this is definitely something that we want to do, yes.
Yeah, I'm asking this because I think it's interesting for people like us that want to deploy end user applications. So all the infrastructure as a service is good as a foundation, but when you're looking at end user applications, Kubernetes is the standard, and I think this is where it gets interesting for a lot more people, like the whole SCS ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, developing the SCS compatible cars certificate is actually the main goal for 2026 for SCS, as far as I can tell. And yeah, I definitely agree that it's very important.
Okay, we're gonna give Renee a chance first, just because he's been typing for a while, and then after that, Felix. So Renee has typed in the chat. He hopes it's not too generic, but we work on infra for sovereign and compliant AI framed as part of better, e.g., open source cloud solutions overall. Is this something that could integrate with Alaska, and how could we check and discuss in details? We focus on the public sector in particular, first, e.g. cities, municipalities, and are open to references collabs in general.
Well, thank you very much, first of all. I think that's a good initiative here. I'm not sure I'm qualified to give a definite answer, but I think it would be great to set up a meeting and talk about details, definitely.
Yes, definitely. So if you do want to set up a meeting, we can always talk after this tech talk. I'm just going to very quickly drop my email in here, and then you can always reach out. Okay. Also, thanks, Felix, for that statement. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, I think that's a no. Thanks to everybody asking questions. Thank you for that discussion, and thank you, Matthias, of course, for presenting that topic to us. Oh, hang on, Johannes is typing.
Wanted to thank you for the talk.
Oh, okay. Sorry, putting you on the spot
you.
like that. Okay. Anyway, yes, thank you so much for the talk. We all agree. And if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to hop back into community news. Are you seeing that? I think you are.
Yes.
Ah, perfect. Thank you. Right. As I said, thanks, Matthias. Also, a quick disclaimer. I personally thought I wasn't nervous holding my first tech talk, but then again, I rushed through the beginning part of this and actually forgot to introduce myself as the new community manager for Alaska. It said it on the slide, but I just said that I was going to be holding the tech talks. So my name is Helena, for everybody who doesn't know me, and I will be taking over the role of community management for Alaska. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to always reach out to me. Moving on to community news. As Matthias has already announced, there will be a hackathon in Hamburg together with Datapod on February 26th, and it'll be a YAUK SCS operator hackathon. And the goal will be to simplify and automate running an SCS-compliant cloud offering with YAUK. And we aim to position YAUK as another SCS reference implementation. So if anybody is interested in that, it's a really cool topic. The whole focus team will be there, minus myself, but Matthias and Daniel and Friedrich will all be there. And I think it'll be a really fun opportunity to get together and work on this. So if you have any questions towards that, you can always reach out. Other than that, if you want to participate, you can always drop us an email. Each one of us is fine, but the official organizer would be Friedrich, so you can also send your mail to him. But other than that, you can just reach out if you have any questions or you want to participate. Other than that, we have a new community goal for 2026. We started this last year together with the technical steering committee. We decided that it would be great to have a general overall goal, like technical goal to achieve by the end of each year for all the projects in order to help projects mature to the glacier stage, which is the ultimate ideal. And last year it was to implement an an install guide or create an install guide for all projects. And we can proudly announce that all of our projects did that very well and have accomplished that goal by the end of the year. And this year we have decided together with the technical steering committee and the project representatives that all projects by the end of 2026 should have an SBOM or a tool to generate their SBOM. And we're excited to see how that goes. We have meetings quarterly to check in with progress and to see how that goes and to help out or support wherever we can. And last but not least, the Alaska Summit is never not a topic, thankfully, because it's a very great topic. And as you can see, I think many of you have been reached by this information throughout the last 2 weeks. We have an official save the date, which is November 3rd and 4th this year here in Dresden. Again, it's the same date as it was last year, so this should be easy to remember. And because the event is scaling and growing, we've actually had to switch locations. So this year we will be in the Mighty Twice Hotel in Dresden. It's in the Dresden Neustadt, and it's a really great location. We've seen it, and we're really excited to invite everybody there. And more information towards sponsorships, call for contributions, registration, of course, are all coming within the next weeks. And we are very excited to get that topic going again, and can't wait to work on it and see you all there in November. And I think that would be it for community news from our side. And if there's anything from your side, anything from the community, any news or events that you have, you can speak up. Oh, and again, I can't see you right now because I have this in full screen. So feel free to just speak up. Okay. So if there aren't any more news. Oh, yeah.
It has been mentioned in the chat, but without the precise date. So on the 17th and 18th of February, there's the next SCS hackathon in Fürth. I was about to say Nuremberg, but it's actually in Fürth, which is directly next to Nuremberg. And I will also, Daniel already provided the link to the Tech-Talk, but here's the link. Well, these are pasted the link for the registration. So, and the focus topic is communities as a service, and in the Hedgehogs there are already quite a few sessions around the topic listed. So that is an info on our next hackathon. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
It's me again. Just a few remarks on regular meetings. If you're interested in SCS or if you can't stand SCS, please come to the regular meetings and tell us about that. The 6th standardization certification is meeting every other Thursday. And then there's the Lean SCS operator call one Thursday in the month. I think the first Thursday each month at 10. So I would be very happy to see many more people around and chat about SCS, and maybe if you have any issues with that SCS, we would be happy to hear about that as well.
Okay. Thank you for that information, Matthias. Okay, then everything we pretty much have left is a call for speakers for 2026. We do already have a few good talks in the pipeline, but we always take speakers, we always take topics. So if you are interested, maybe you haven't spoken before, or maybe you have, we oftentimes get that question that if a topic has been presented a year ago, 2 years ago, if there can be an updated talk, and we always enjoy those. Just to kind of see how projects evolve or topics evolve and move on and develop. So if you have one of those, feel free to always send in your topics, and we're excited to get to chatting. Right. And then we're excited to announce the Tech Talk for February 27th. which will be from the Nation, which will be held by Martin Pilka and Matusz Jenka. And they'll be talking about lessons learned while running Yauk on internal network with bonded interfaces to double the bandwidth. So that already sounds very exciting. Just as always, it'll be the last Friday of the month at 11 a.m. CET, and we are very excited to see you there. And I think that would be everything. If no one has any further remarks, then we'll be coming to an end. Okay, it doesn't look like that. So thanks again, Matthias, for your tech talk. Thanks everybody who joined. We kicked off this year really well, and I'm excited to see what else is in the pipeline for 2026. Thank you, guys. Bye.